Hey everybody out there on the internets, welcome again to another thrilling edition of Give It a Shot, Spotlight Edition. Today I am reviewing Domo. I was kind of excited to do this because I knew it would be something, at least I felt would be worth reviewing. I know about Domo. Domo is a Japanese created character. I don't really know a whole lot about him, and judging by the box, it's like they don't know either. Because, like, the first thing on the box, what is Domo? Where is he? Where did he come from? Nobody really knows, other than he's a strange open-mouthed creature that hatched from an egg. This is very true. He is a very strange creature that with a constantly open mouth. And that's kind of like his defining feature. He's this big, brown thing with teeth. It's out there. Like, I've seen him in bits and pieces. I don't really know too much about Domo. When I think of Domo, I also think there's another character kind of like him. I think it's called Gon. It's like a Tyrannosaurus Rex with it's like really tiny but with a monstrous bulbous head. And I think of that thing, and Gon is like a really super strong dinosaur, I think. I don't remember, it's been a long time since Gon has ever even, crossed my mind, but it did when I was watching Domo. So, I don't really have much in the way of story for this, because the problem with Domo, if there really is one, is that this was a collection of shorts, like really short shorts. Like, I think I watched over a dozen shorts in 30 minutes. Like, they're all real quick hits, and each one has there's different themes to each one. When it comes to story, there's nothing really there. It's just, here's a quick little adventure, because Domo doesn't really speak. Now, the other creatures speak, and there's a few. I think he lives with a rabbit. I think he lives with a rabbit because he doesn't really have much of in the way of a home himself. He lives with a rabbit. I think the yellow one is either a ferret or a weasel or something. I don't know what she is. I think her name is Tashana. Yeah, I think that's what she is. And she seems to be a little bit more in tune with contemporary styles than that. Domo is just big, dumb, and happy. And so, they have various little short misadventures. Out of all the ones that I watched, a couple that might stick out was his little adventure with the balloon. Like, he lets go of a balloon that he's holding, and it goes up in the sky, and he grabs his rabbit friend and throws him up there to potentially get it. That one was kind of cute. The story with the robot dog, which is Tashana's robot dog, that was interesting because he's trying to occupy the dog's time. And he freaks out. The one, I think my favorite out of the bunch though, is Headphones. Headphones is where he goes into Tashana's house and takes her headphones and starts plugging them into things. So he'll plug them into a tree and listen to the music of the tree, a tomato, a worm. Like, he plugs it in the ground and he's just jamming out, and eventually she comes back and takes them away from him. But like that's sort of cute and creative, and that's sort of like the bigger theme about the entire thing. Like, a lot of it is non-verbal, like, because Domo just lets out this weird noise. Like, that's all he can do. Anybody else can talk, he can't. And so, he's just doing, and everything's just visual. And they do it really well. These are very simple stories. There's nothing too convoluted about them. Like, one of them is literally him climbing a tree. just wanting to climb a tree, and he gets his friends to help him, and then he gets to the top of the tree, and then the joke is, right over there is a bigger tree that he wants to climb. And it's like, oh, well, that's cute. Like, none of this stuff is, over the top in terms of, like, gross out humor. Now, apparently he farts. I learned that in one of them with his hideout. But other than that, there's nothing over the top about this. Like, they're all kind of cute and fun. And I can't stress simple enough. Because that's something I think that happens a lot in terms of shows and animation. Sometimes they're catered and dumbed down to a point where it's like they just have to run their mouths. Here's something that doesn't really do that. Like, dialogue is very sparse, and things just kind of happen. And so it's kind of nice to watch that. The animation, this is all stop motion. This is late 1990s. It's all stop motion. I'm impressed by it. There's no real tells. Like if you see stop motion and it's claymation, you'll see thumbprints on characters and whatnot that are kind of obvious. But there's none really here. So it's really clean. The one thing that really impresses me and also has me kind of confused is their use of water throughout. Like their water effects are really good, but the one thing that really gets me, everything sweats. Like, I know that's a thing in manga and whatnot, that, characters have sweat drops and whatnot. There's a lot of it. Like, for things that I would assume, like, no reason for there to be anything, these characters are sweating. So that leaves me a little confused, but other than that weirdness, it's very well executed. I don't really know if this was... I don't think it was like its own series. Like, I almost get the feeling like this is interstitial stuff, and this is really dating me. Kind of like Picture Pages on Nickelodeon when I was a little child. They used to do this thing interstitially between programs called Picture Pages with Bill Cosby and Mortimer Ichabod Marker. And this feels like it would be that. Like, in between programs, here's this short little 2-minute thing that you can watch. It's cute. And that's genuinely what they are. They're genuinely cute little stories, self-contained things. Like, you don't really have to know anything. They're kind of I don't want to say universal, but they're easily understood. Like, even if you have no clue about what the characters are and what their motivations might be, like, these are all easily grasped concepts. And I think that's kind of what makes Domo, I think a little bit better well-liked, because it's, because first of all, it's Japanese, and anything Japanese, especially back then, there might be the concern of translation issues. I mean, if you ever watched early Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, and stuff like that, there's a lot of digital paint and stuff's getting edited over. My favorite is always like in Pokemon, where Brock talks about jelly donuts when they are clearly not jelly donuts.
These donuts are great. Jelly-filled are my favorite. Nothing beats a jelly-filled donut.
But this is something that easily translates because they're all sort of universal things, like the one about brothers and how there are, siblings do things that might from the outside seem mean, but they are what they are. I think the only one that really may have a little translation problem would be the episode 2 Domos, where there's a Tanuki that transforms into the other characters. But other than that, I can't really think of like any episode where there'd be like a problem in translation. Like, they're all just kind of wholesome. Man, this is really weird for me to do on Give It a Shot, because like I knew about Domo forever, like I said earlier, but I've never watched anything of Domo. Like, I knew he had a manga and whatnot, but I knew next to nothing. I think he had a couple Flash games way back in the day, making him somewhat invincible. Because he does have it, like, he is super strong, but he's just there, and he's just childlike. He's not anything over the top. So it's an interesting thing to watch. I like it. There are some downsides. I can't. This is not going to be a glowing review. Like, I always feel like this is a plant. In terms of like, oh, I'm finally going to have something good on Give It a Shot instead of something like surprisingly good. And in a way, yeah, like I knew Domo would be probably something solid to watch. But it's not without its flaws. It's not necessarily the content itself. It's how they did it. Because the episodes are like 2 minutes and change. And if you just play them all straight, it's 32 minutes. But there's a problem. Every episode plays the intro and the credits. And that's probably 30 seconds of the whole thing. And so the Domo theme song just constantly loops in your head. It's probably the worst thing about this entire DVD is that they have stuff that repeats a lot. And I'll probably be hearing the Domo in my head, even in my nightmares tonight. Ugh. So, it was okay until the aftertaste kicked in. So by and large, it's not bad. It's just a little repetitive. I would actually recommend, watching a couple Domo episodes. Don't do what I did and do like a dozen of them straight. That's just a little cruel and unusual. Space them out a little bit to make it a little bit easier on yourself. Don't make the mistakes I made. But other than that, it's pretty solid. Now, I did look at some of the bonus features on here, which I typically don't do, because they had some animation challenge winners and whatnot, and I wish I hadn't. Like, they're all fan-made things. They're Flash animation that was, moved over to this, and I watched 5 seconds of one and said no. Absolutely not. I am done. I don't care. Like, the fact that Domo says, I love American Idol, which I'm not even going to bother to port that over to this. Just believe me when I say I hate it. Because it just felt out of left field, especially because the fact that he doesn't talk. Oh, and that does remind me, there's one other genuinely interesting short that there was, and it's Domo's an office worker, and so he puts on a fedora, and he goes underneath a tree, pulls out a log, and starts using it as a cell phone, and he's conducting his own business, which is so weird. And then the other animals started doing it too, because he hands out business cards like Japanese businessmen do. And so it's like super weird. But it's just funny because they're all doing it, and like the yellow otter, I'm gonna assume she's an otter. I don't know what the hell she is, but she's like, "What are you all doing?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm selling toys. I'm selling trucks and whatnot." And then she's just like, ugh, whatever. They're all weird. Although she did throw out a good one. No, maybe you should sell clothes, since we're all naked and all.
we could use some clothes. I mean, we're all naked. I mean, that's all I mean.
But other than that, it's good. It's wholesome. It's fun. It's only one shot. There's nothing I can really complain about other than the fact that you probably should only take this in small doses. Don't do what I did. But it's really fun. It's enjoyable. They're cute, wholesome, quality stop motion animation that has a water fixation, which again can't really figure out, but there you go. So, I mean, it was only a shot. It's not terrible in any stretch of the imagination, but it does kind of feel like a plant. Like, oh, I know Domo. Let's give it a shot, because like I legitimately had never seen any of it. I just knew he was a thing, and hey, what better excuse than to watch him for my review show? And I did it. Cool. Definitely went down better than all the Twinkle Toe shorts I had to suck down in that review. So, yay! So that was Domo. Cool. And so, till next time, party people. Toodles.